Welcome to Sunday Night Sports News, um, February 15, 2026. I hope you guys enjoyed Valentine's Day yesterday, which I hope you guys do. Uh, to recap, Sunday Night Sports News will be once every month, not every week. Every week, it'll be once every month. The last Sunday Night Sports News, very great, by the way. I believe I had 12 or 15 viewers, or more than just that. Thank you for those who've watched it. So we got some news from the NFL, of course. Plus, we have NBA news surrounding the All-Stars, England, Premier League, by the way. NASCAR with the Daytona 500 just wrapped it up 2 hours ago, and much more. So let's begin with the National Football League. So we begin in the NFL where it's after Super Bowl 60 on Sunday. We get some news from Monday to Sunday. So Falcons pass rusher James Pierce Jr. allegate crash SUV into WNBA player's car. The player's name is Raquel Jackson. Now, James Pierce Jr. was arrested over there in Miami, so not very good news for Falcons fans. And plus, Jeff Ulbrich commenting about not really good, but a big loss if for the Falcons. The last two civil lawsuits alleging sexual assault by Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson dismissed. Now, this lawsuit has happened since 2021, where Deshaun Watson had accused 30 women, and now the last two women who are part of this have been dismissed. Rams offensive tackle Robert Harvenstein announced his retirement from the NFL after 11 seasons. He had suffered some injuries through his career, but hey, Super Bowl champion and very great lineman. We'll hope to see what he does in the future, but he retires in the NFL. Big news ahead of NFL free agency, which starts next month. Tight end David Njoku announced he's not re-signing with the Browns after 9 seasons, quoting, "Time to find a new home." So this is surprising because Cleveland, of course, they have two tight ends, David Njoku, and their rising tight end, Harold Fant Jr. And now David Njoku is leaving. But where is he going to end up going? Now, we know if Cleveland doesn't return, there are some teams out there. You're looking at the Kansas City Chiefs. They could use a new tight end. Another one is the Eagles, because they're going to have questions surrounding Dallas Goedert in his future. Those are my two likely fits for David Njoku, but we'll see where he goes before free agency hits on March. Patriots defensive coordinator Terrell Williams being moved to high-ranking role, defensive coordinator spot now open. I'm surprised that they are still going to keep Terrell Williams in with the Patriots, but as a high role, ranking role. I think they're going to promote Zach Kerr, who is the inside linebackers coach, as the defensive coordinator. Did a tremendous job with the Patriots defense, stepping up for Terrell Williams. I think they're going to give him the promotion, unless they're searching for an experienced defensive coordinator that is going to change this defense up. Bills are hiring John Fox as senior assistant coach. So he joins Joe Brady's coaching staff. Patriots Stephon Diggs pled no guilty to assault allegations. Look, all the internet goes with, Cardi B and Stephon Diggs broke up, and then now he's in court, no guilty. Yeah, not a good day for Stephon Diggs after losing at the Super Bowl. Cardinals retaining Nick Velez as their defensive coordinator. I think this is a great move for Mike LaFleur, because Of course, you hire Nathaniel Hackett as your offensive coordinator, who's going to call the plays. And you hire Nick Velez, a rising head coaching candidate. He's going to end up calling the defense, which I think is a great fit for him to stay in Arizona. Jaguars still planning to authorize Travis Hunter as a two-way player, but could flip usage to full-time cornerback. I think this fits very well for Travis Hunter. He's going to probably end up being a full-time cornerback and a part-time wide receiver, which I do believe it feels like it makes sense. Last season, he had some up and down numbers, but injuries affected him. So I do believe next year, Travis Hunter is going to be a much improved, better player from rookie year to next year. Raiders are promoting D-lines coach and run game coordinator Rob Leonard as their defense coordinator. So instead of searching for a new defensive coordinator, they went and said we're staying in-house. And Rob Leonard, who was the D-lines coach with Max Crosby, he's going to end up being defensive coordinator. And do they keep Max Crosby? I think this decision has to be on Max Crosby. I think he's going to end up going somewhere else. I just don't know if he's going to end up staying in Vegas. But for Raiders fans, they're just crossing their fingers for Max Crosby's return. Today, Seattle hiring 49ers tight ends coach Brian Fuller as their offensive coordinator. He's been, of course, a defensive assistant, but changed up to offensive assistant. Again, he was also the run game coordinator as well as tight ends coach in San Francisco. This will be his first time being a play caller for the offense. Now, will it be the same offense that Clint Kubiak ran last year, or is it going to be a little more different? We'll see, but I'm very intriguing about this hire. Raiders are set to hire Seahawks quarterbacks coach Andrew Janeko as their offensive coordinator. Andrew, of course, knows Clint Kubiak very well. He did spend time with him in New Orleans as the quarterbacks coach. He's been around the league, of course. Spent a lot of time in Minnesota from 2013, getting every promotion to wide receivers coach, then quarterbacks coach, which he has worked with quarterbacks. And he is going to go to Vegas, in which, once the Raiders draft Fernando Mendoza, he is going to be working with Mendoza in Vegas and see if he can improve the offense from last year to better year. Let's go to the NBA. So let's get the big update. USA Stars take down USA Stripes and the World. They win the 2026 All-Star Game. Anthony Edwards has been named MVP. Congratulations to the U.S. Stars. But let's now get to the news. Jason Tatum limited participate in practice with Celtics G League squad. So I'm guessing he is in the G League squad for practicing. He isn't going to return until, assuming, April. So if the Celtics do end up getting in the playoffs, which they're probably going to end up being in the playoffs, then Jason Tatum will be ready to go in the playoffs, which is a big boost for the Boston Celtics. Warriors, Jimmy Butler undergoes ACL surgery. Bulls, Saxton fined $35,000 for improbable hand gesture. If you already know what that is, I can't do it, but it's the finger. Just move on with that. NBA suspended 4 players for the Pistons Hornets brawl, and it was an intense brawl. For the Hornets, both Miles Bridges and Musa Disbite all got 4-game suspensions. Jalen Duren had 2 suspensions for the Pistons, but the biggest one, Isaiah Stewart, got 7-game suspension. Well, he should end up getting maybe a 10-game suspension. Chris Paul retires after 21 seasons, which is a big surprise because remember, he got traded from the Clippers to the Raptors. The Raptors were going to plan to trade him to somewhere else. Unfortunately, it didn't go very well. And Chris Paul says, I'm hanging up my basketball cleats. It's time for me to retire. And he should be in the NBA Hall of Famer for sure. Injured Damian Lillard tops Con Knipple on Devin Booker to win the 3-point contest. Guys, let me tell you, Damian Lillard is always the 3-point machine. If we're saying besides Steph Curry, Damian Lillard is that other guy. And when he's healthy for the Portland Trailblazers, which I believe they're in the play-in, watch out for the Trailblazers. They're going to be a sneaky playoff team or play-in team that when Damian Lillard's healthy, things could change. Miami Heat's wing Keyshawn Johnson holds off Spurs rookie Carter Bryant to win Slam Dunk Contest. Boy, Slam Dunk Contest is probably the best contest in all of the all sports all-star weekend, which is you get the oh my goodness, that's what it is. Congratulations to Keyshawn Johnson. All right, let's go to England. We got some news around England in soccer, basically. So we'll start in England soccer news. EFL clubs are to vote on expanding championship playoffs to 6 clubs. What does that mean? Well, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, which is the current method in the EFL championship playoffs. Basically, top 2 go to the Premier League. 3, 4, 5, and 6 have to face each other in the semifinals. So I think this would be a great time to make a change and do it in 6 clubs. I like this. I would love to see that if they do end up making the expansion. Spurs sack Thomas Frank after miserable 8-month reign, and this one is brutal for Spurs fans because after their loss to Newcastle, which by the way, brutal loss for them, it was time for them to move on with Thomas Frank. I know it was a good hire at the beginning. Things were going very well with Thomas Frank. But I think the reason why it didn't go very well is injuries. There was a lot of injuries. And yeah, I think they caught themselves distracted in the Champions League. And they're going to have a hard time this year. Right now, they're still in the mix of relegation zone. But they're going to have to get back up, at least still in mid-table, which is their best scenario as of now. But Thomas Frank, we'll see if he ends up getting a managerial job. We'll see where he ends up going. But his time in Spurs came in a wrong time. Another manager got sacked. Sean Dyche has been sacked by Nottingham Forest after Decimal Wolves draw, which 1-1 draw. What are we doing, Forest? What are we doing? You fire Nuno Espirito Santo. You fire Etch Postecoglou. And now you fire Sean Dyche? What are we doing? I'll get to the 4th manager in a moment, but I feel like this team or this club is in the worst case scenario. Worst case scenario. Even worse than where Spurs are right now. English coach Thomas Tuchel extends contract through to Euros 2028. I could have given him that extension if he succeeds at the World Cup, which, by the way, it starts in June. But they felt like he has done enough to be the English manager, so well deserved. Wrexham reached the FA Cup for the last 16 for the first time in 29 years. Yes, Ryan Reynolds, who is the owner, co-owner of Wrexham, has taken his club to the round of 16 for the first time in 29 years. All right, now let's get to those 2 jobs that were filled. So Spurs are hiring former Juventus boss Igor Tudor as their interim coach until the end of the year. Now, Tudor has done a lot of good stuff. But when he was in Marseille, then Juventus, then I believe his last job was Milan, Inter Milan, maybe. It was not very well over there in Juventus, which it didn't go very well for him. This Spurs one is going to be again a harder job, but can he get Spurs to stay in the Premier League? That's going to be the question for me. But I'm intriguing about this hire. Nottingham Forest, on the other hand, hired former Wolves manager Victor Pereira as their fourth manager this year. So Victor Pereira was sacked by Wolves due to the poor performances through the first half of the season. Now Victor Pereira looks to do the same thing he did with Wolves last year and do it to Nottingham Forest. And again, Forest, do not do not do this again. You do this again, it has to be on your owner. UFC, very quickly. UFC began the matchmaking for the White House event on June 14th, which we're going to find out which matches are going to happen in the White House. Aslam Meksavat ready to fight Ilya Tarpa at the UFC White House event, which should be interesting. Former UFC champ Cain Velasquez has been released from prison on parole. So the last time I heard Cain Velasquez was he was arrested, but the last time the whole world has heard about him, except his prison, was when he was at WWE against Brock Lesnar. So we'll get to see hopefully Cain Velasquez back at the UFC ring. Now to college football. North Dakota State and Sacramento State are going from the FCS level to the FBS level. So we'll start with North Dakota State. They're joining the Mountain West for 2026 only as a football program. They will pay nearly $12 million to join the league and an additional $5 million to the NCAA to make the jump from FCS. North Dakota State are not eligible for conference title game or CFP until the 2028 campaign. Finally, North Dakota State is in the FBS. Everyone has been waiting for this one because there were rumors of North Dakota State in talks with those conferences. Probably the Mountain West was the interesting conference that they were feeling like the North Dakota State in our conference. Listen, we saw what they did to these other programs. They beat Iowa. So why not we add that program in the Mountain West? This one is very interesting. They are the kings of the FCS level, but now they're transitioning to the FBS, which well deserved for them. And from Sacramento State. So Sacramento State is joining the MAC as a football-only member. They will pay total cost of $23 million. That includes an entrance fee of $18 million plus an additional $5 million payment to the NCAA. They are the first West Coast team or program to move its football program from the FCS level to the FBS level in nearly 57 years. Yes, 57 years. It's been a long time. Sacramento State going to the MAC. I thought they could join maybe the Mountain West, but there were rumors that Sacramento State want to join the Pac-12 or the Mountain West. Instead, they had to get the new stadium, which want to make sure if they get the new stadium done by like 2028, 2029, whenever it does it, they would end up going to FBS level. So love it for Sacramento State. They joined the MAC. Ole Miss, Trinity Chambliss has obtained ejection for an extra eligibility. What does that mean for him? He is staying for another one more year with Ole Miss, which, by the way, 2026 is going to be awesome. Arch Manning, Lenore Sellers, Dante Moore, Trinity Chambliss. Those quarterbacks are going to fight for a number one overall pick in 2027 draft pick, which I cannot wait to see who gets that number one pick in 2027. And the last thing, bonus here, NASCAR, Tyler Reddick wins the 2026 Daytona 500. It was a crazy ending. Crazy ending. All the cars, by the time the finish line is there, everyone crashed, but Tyler Reddick got in and wins the 2026 Daytona 500. That's it for Sunday Night Sports News, February 15, 2026. I know this video is long, but again, Sunday Night Sports News will be happening every month, once a week. If you've not seen my other videos, go check them out on my channel. Of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for more sports news.